Welcome to the Celtic Way morning briefing live. It's Friday the 16th of February. I'm in for Hamish because I believe Hamish has shook us off, Ryan, because he's going to see Taylor Swift. Is that right? See what I did there?
Thank you. Yes, I did see you. I like your style there. That's for sure. Could do these all day with Taylor Swift songs. To be fair, yeah. Thank you for taking the reins, Tony, and being the host. It's just like old times again, isn't it?
Correct, Raimundo. I was off for a couple of days. Off the briefing Wednesday. I had guys coming in to do the roof. Dogs are going mental, so not a good look for the pod. And yesterday was day off, but we're back today. Your old dad's back. Looking forward to the Jarvis Cocker on Saturday. That's the soccer to you and I, or football as I usually call it, but there you go. Celtic playing an informed Kilmarnock, as the title says. We'll get to that, but first of all, as we always do, we say thank you to MPH Group for all your plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathroom needs. Check out MPH Groups, and all their links are on our website, and on the links to this video you'll find them there, all the links to their social media sites. And they are Scotland's award-winning family all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland, and they've still got the Navien Boiler Promotion, which if you take up that you get a free internet controller which cranks up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. So check them out, and we say thank you to MPH Group for their continued sponsorship of the morning briefing. Thank you to them. Ryan, how are you, sir? You good?
Things are good, yeah. Feel like I've been doing podcasts non-stop, to be honest with you. Been doing most of the briefings this week, and then I was doing podcasts with other Ryan last night. So I've had plenty of Celtic discussion in my life this week. But yeah, one or two can't hurt. I believe we'll probably do another one later on this afternoon, talking about the press conferences once everything's settled, once the dust is settled on the press conferences, and we know exactly the route that the player and manager have taken with their announcements or the way they're describing things. So yeah, I'm very used to speaking about Celtic this week. Looking forward to the game tomorrow against, as I said in the description, or against in the title, against a really informed Kilmarnock side who, for me anyway, I think they've got the manager of the year in Derek McInnes. Not to turn into a Kilmarnock podcast, but I think the job he's doing at the moment at Kilmarnock is nothing short of spectacular. He's got them fourth in the table after getting them promoted, I think it was 2 years ago. So yeah, a really good side that seem to really play for their manager. They've already beaten Celtic twice this season. They've beaten Rangers once this season on the opening day. So yeah, Celtic know exactly what they'll be coming up against, which is a side of quality that look as if they're going to be well in the top six this year.
I did a retro piece, Ryan. I was channeling the vibe, and I picked a memorable game. It's on the website, and it was Celtic 6, Kilmarnock 0. I want the same thing to happen, Ryan, again. That was back in 2001, and it was funny because Sutton got 2, Larsson got 4, smashed through the 100 goals barrier for Celtic, and Chris Sutton got the man of the match. Couldn't make it up, but I was channeling something, Ryan. I was trying to project vibes onto Celtic, because Celtic owe Kilmarnock big time this season, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. A scoreline like that would be absolutely tremendous tomorrow, to be honest with you, because I think the last time that Celtic properly, convincingly beat a team, I'm not talking 2-3 nothing. I'm talking 5-6 nothing. Is probably Aberdeen, back when Aberdeen were a bit of a shambles defensively. Anyway, they just completely shut off against Celtic, and Celtic took advantage of that. Don't think it will be the same tomorrow. I think it'll be a much cagier affair, just due to the fact that Kilmarnock are a very well-oiled machine. They have been all season. They've been grabbing scalps all season, it seems, and they deserve to be where they're at the moment. Again, not to turn into a Kilmarnock podcast or that, but they have been really impressive this season. And Celtic know that they'll be in a game tomorrow. You're hoping that the pitch, the proper pitch, and the quality between the two sides can make it more of an advantage for Celtic. But Derek McInnes will have his team well drilled and ready for this game, and it's all about Celtic getting up to that level and exceeding that level that Kilmarnock will no doubt be at, and getting the win that they need, but not just the win, but a few goals as well, because that goal difference is it's not the greatest look in the world. That goal difference, it's been absolutely decimated.
Yeah, and it's important now that you start to beat teams by goals, but let's see if this Celtic team can channel that vibe, Ryan, and see if they can get a decent result tomorrow against a team, as you say, who have already knocked Celtic out the League Cup and claimed a scalp at Rugby Park. So it's going to be a tough game, but I was impressed by the fact that the manager rejigged the system last week, Ryan. I'm going to say I'm imploring him not to touch it again this week and go along similar lines. Maybe Greg Taylor coming back in for Burnaby, early spoiler alert for predicted 11s, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the way I'm thinking, Ryan.
Yeah, I would quite like to see Greg Taylor back in the team just for his defensive qualities as well.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a mystifying situation when you're sort of counting down the days until Greg Taylor's back. And that's not to say that Burnaby hasn't been good, because he has been the past couple of games, especially that game against St Mirren. But with Burnaby, you take the good with the bad, the rough with the smooth, and you know that there's trouble afoot in his game. For every good action that he does, there could also be a clanger in his game just around the corner. He's that sort of player. There's no half measures with Burnaby, and that was shown in Alan Morrison's piece that's available on the website. He's either really good at something or he's the worst, like the actual worst at something. There is no middle ground with Burnaby. He's either really good or really bad at something, and that's good in a team that maybe you're allowed a couple of players like that. You're allowed a couple of sort of joker card players almost that you can take the good with the bad. But I just think in this current team, you need the solidity of Greg Taylor, and that's not to say that Greg Taylor doesn't have weaknesses in his game. But I think he's a more solid option than Burnaby. Burnaby can come on and do a job, but if you're asking me between the two players, despite his maverickness, you would say, or his I don't want to say madness because that sounds like too much of a
loose cannon. Loose
Yeah.
cannon, I think, yeah.
You say it. Bring that sort of unpredictability. I'd much rather have the consistent nature of Greg Taylor, even though he does have some shortcomings. I still do believe that position should have been addressed in the January transfer window. Still shocked that it wasn't, but Celtic have got to play with the cards that they're dealt with. Sometimes they're going to play maybe like a 7 of hearts, and the next they're going to play a joker card. But I think they'll just go with the former for this game against Kilmarnock. Greg Taylor against his former team. He scored the last time the two played at Celtic Park, so if he can do that again, then everybody will be quite happy.
Excellent. Now, lots of comments coming in, so we'll take a few, shall we, Ryan? Let's do that. Right, let's go. Dennis Jameson, morning Dennis, how you doing? There should be extra motivation. This team has beaten Celtic twice this season. Celtic have to put that right tomorrow. In every game now until the end of the season is like a cup final. All hands on deck, all hands to the pump. Yes, exactly. It's exactly how we're feeling about it all. And Welsh Paul, morning from Wales. He can't wait for tomorrow. Every game like a cup final now. See, they're all saying it, Ryan. Cup final stuff now. Helen McCallum, morning Helen, how you doing? Morning hoops tomorrow, yes, indeed, Helen. And Christopher Patterson coming in, morning guys. Surely Celtic have had the wake up call they need. The real Celtic need to stand up and be counted. I was saying that last week, wasn't it, Ryan? Slim Shady and all that. Stephen Batley, there's nothing to show in the past few games that Celtic have 3 goals in them. A wee bit more negative from Stephen. We shall see, Stephen. And Black Wonder Paul saying Kyogo for 2 tomorrow. He's saying Kyogo for 2 tomorrow. So, yep, I would like that. Jerry Smith, need a win and Celtic need goals. And Smell the Glove coming in saying back in the days, Tony, Celtic used to easily win the games 5 and 6-0. Yep, and Big Hosey 67. Morning, fellow Celtic have got this, come on. And Blake Owen, I think it's going to be a very tight game. He says, you're thinking that way as well, Ryan, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just down to credit for the opposition because they have been keeping games tight this season. They've not really been getting hammered by any teams whatsoever. They keep it very tight.
Time for that to change, Ryan. Time for that to change.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a first for everything, certainly this season. 3-1 was a good result earlier on in the season because I think it was 2-0 to Celtic. And then Greg Taylor scored that late goal to make it more comfortable between the two sides. I was having a wee look at the stats that Dave Celtic can replicate those stats, and I think that'll be half the battle because it doesn't seem as if they're getting a lot of chances at goal. So when they do get chances, they have to take them, and then maybe there's a bit of pressure on the players because they're not getting as many chances. Back in that game, I believe the number was 27 shots and 12 on target. If they can get something like that tomorrow, then I think it'll be going a long way to solve the problems that they've been facing up front, because it's concerning when a team isn't taking their chances, but it's even more concerning when they aren't making chances as well. I would be more concerned if it's the latter, to be honest, and those chances aren't coming. And there's a problem with the production line and the creativity from the midfield and the wingers to the attack. So if they're making chances tomorrow, then I've got every faith that players like Ida and Kyogo, and maybe even Matt O'Reilly as well, Palma too, if he's selected, they can take those chances, but they've got to be made in order to be taken. And you're hoping that that production line can be quite seamless from defence to midfield to attack.
I think it's time somebody get a Inverness clacking a cudding, Ryan, a scudding. I think tomorrow's right for that. Just want every inch of this game tomorrow, everything to be, the fans to get right behind the team. We have who we have personnel-wise. It is what it is. There's a league and a Scottish Cup to be won. Just get right behind the team and let's get this over the line. I know, and it started last week against St Mirren, where they played better than they have done in previous weeks. And keep that up and just put the pedal to the metal and see where we go, and at least try and get your goal difference up and swarm all over teams and take your chances when they come along. But I think everybody, collective responsibility here, Ryan. There's a league title to be won, a real crucial league title, and it's not happy clapping. I want the best for Celtic at all times. There are problems in the background bubbling away. Get all that, but if we can affect things on the park and encourage the guys to get over the line and the manager, then every Celtic supporter must do that. This league title is crucial, and just play your part.
Yeah, everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. Everybody's got to be on the same train or the same boat or whatever, regardless of any discontent that is. As you quite rightly said, Brendan Rodgers' first result or first the first thing on his job description is to be winning football matches and winning trophies for Celtic. As much as he can be annoyed at the recruitment, and I think we're all quite annoyed at the recruitment and the way that it's went over the past year or so, it's the cards that they've got, it's the deck that they've got, and they have to play these cards accordingly. And the people that have been signed have got to step up and they've got to be counted for, regardless if they're ready or not. I read the other day that Brendan, I think it was on his Celtic TV interview that he had a few days ago, that he's been quite impressed with Yang in training. If he can step up a level and make himself a main player in this team, then that'll feel like a new signing as well, even though he's been there since the summer. Having guys come in and be ready for that title charge. He's been involved in snippets for South Korea. He'll be supremely fit. It's his attitude and training that's the positive thing about Yang at the moment that Brendan Rodgers was talking about. He says his attitude's tremendous and he's only going to get better from here on in. If we can see somebody like that coming into the team and making a difference, then I think it'd be a big boost, especially in those areas where Celtic have been struggling recently. I thought he was one of the bright sparks when he came on against St Mirren the other day. His attitude, as Brendan Rodgers quite rightly said, was spot on because he took it to St Mirren. We've seen that in a couple of games this season, though, that he has got that in his locker. Very much a confidence player. But I remember the game against Aberdeen, that aforementioned 6-0 game. He was a constant menace down that side.
Yeah.
And he's so direct. If he can get any sort of consistency into his game and play that, then there's no reason why he can't become one of the first names on the team sheet, especially in the wing positions. Because I think he's exactly what Celtic need. Somebody like Kuhn as well, you're wanting him to step up. We want wingers that can take on a man and beat a man. Yes, it's good that you can have Palmer that gets goals and assists and provides. And for me, personally, you need wingers that can take their man on and cause problems and break the lines and break that marker. And players like Yang and Kuhn, these are the players that I want to see step up and be counted for from now until the end of the season. I think they could very much be the difference maker, even though they're not in and around the starting lineup at this moment in time. They could be players that could come and make a difference, but I say all this and then I'm probably going to predict that Palmer's going to be in the starting lineup. So, what do I know?
They've got 13 games, Ryan, to make their mark. What better way to make their mark than help Celtic to a third successive title and all the prestige and financial rewards that come with that? So, yeah, there is no hiding place now. If you're on that part, you have to contribute for Celtic with 13 games to go. And you control what you can control. Whatever happens on the other side of the city, so be it. But you have to just win your own battles and win your own matches and take it from there. And we will see what happens. But these guys have got a right good chance, to cement themselves in the eyes of the faithful, and say, right, you are worth persevering with. There is a future for you at this club, and I'm looking at guys like Yang in particular. You want Kuhn also to step up to the plate too, see if they can make valid contributions. And Ange Postecoglou used to bang on about it. It doesn't matter how many minutes you get in the park, it's valuable minutes. So make them tell, make them, do something creative if that's the kind of player that you are, creative player. Go and make something happen. Go and get a goal. Go and get an assist. And use it that way. Don't use it as, to sulk because you're not playing, because they will be turning to you at some point in the business end of the season to perform. So make sure you're ready at all times. So, yeah, I like you, I was impressed with Yang last week. So here's hoping that he can, if he does get his chance again, that he can make more valid contributions in the 13 games that are left.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I think of the player yet, but there are some attributes in his game that I really like and others that I don't. I think it's his inconsistencies that annoy, or not annoy me, but they make me question his actual ability. But when he'll have maybe 2 or 3 bad games, and then he'll come into a game and he'll show something. You're like, that's the reason why Celtic have signed him, because he can take on a man like that and make things happen. He was criticised very heavily after that. I think it was the Lazio game in particular, Lazio away from home. He was quite rightly so, because he was dreadful on that night. But he's just a young player. You've got to remember that, and I think this is important to remember, that he was just coming off the back of a full K-League season when he joined Celtic, or half a K-League season. So he's probably played the equivalent of a full season already. Add that with the Asia Cup, and you're just hoping that he's getting that ample rest time. Maybe it's probably evened out with the fact that he isn't getting a lot of game time in the first team. But if you can manage his minutes, and maybe he's a player that you can bring off the bench to sort of make problems happen. If you can show what he showed against St Mirren more times this season, then I'm sure that he can get goals and assists, especially late goals and assists if the team need it. But he's maybe a player that Celtic need to be patient with, and it could be next season that you see the breakout of Yang. But if he can make a difference from now until the end of the season, then it stands him in good stead for next season and beyond to be a major player for the club.
Yeah, I totally agree. But as it stands, he's going to get some game minutes before the end of the season, Ryan. So he's going to get a chance to make a meaningful contribution, as will all the players who play over the course of the next 13 games. Who else are you hoping steps up to the plate, Ryan? Are you hoping Matt O'Reilly rediscovers some form? He's gone off a cliff, but his levels have dipped, haven't they? You can't deny that, certainly.
He's not went off a cliff. I think he's went down a hill, or I don't know, something smaller than a cliff anyway. It's like one of those roads that you go up and then you down and you feel it in your stomach. That's the sort of down that he's had at the moment. There's always I think there's a positive way that could be found, definitely. He's a good player. You're hoping that he can just get out of his slightly below par form at the moment. Then again, he's below par form as him not scoring or assisting. He's probably doing all the basics on the pitch. His distribution's probably good, but it's just we're not really noticing it, because we notice his goals and assists and what he really brings to that team. There could be a case of him burning out this season, and you wouldn't blame him, because he's been the main man for large parts of it. From August onwards, he's been the main man at Celtic. From that opening game against Ross County, you knew that Matt O'Reilly was destined for good things this season because of the way that he was playing. He seemed to be one of the only players at the start to look better than what they did under Ange Postecoglou, because he was more of an individual player rather than a team. Well, he was a team player under Ange Postecoglou more so, but then when he was brought into the Brendan Rodgers sort of thing, he became more of the individual, and you could see that in his goals and assists. He was the main star, sort of the diamond in the midfield. The past couple of games haven't really worked out for him. He's not really been that involved, although he hit the post at Pittodrie. If he hits the back of the net, nobody's talking about this form. Unfortunately, they need to score the goal in order to sort of change the narrative. Tomorrow, I'm hoping for a return to form from Matt O'Reilly, maybe a goal, a couple of assists, and back on the saddle, because he's he's vitally, vitally important to this team. If Celtic are going to win the league this season, I think he is the difference between winning and losing the league this season, then it's because Matt O'Reilly is going to be front and centre of it.
Over 400 joining us live, 405 as we speak. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. We can't do it without you. We hope you enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it, tick a tape running along the bottom, as we ask you to do every day. Subscribe to the Celtic Way website. It costs you £4 for 4 months or £18 for a year for everything that's written on the website, and you help support top quality journalism in the process as we every day cover the club you love. Just hit that button, guys, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And as Ryan always says, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, and you get notifications wherever we are going live. We'll be on live today after the press conferences as well. So thank you. We really do appreciate it. Edward Y of Oz, there is no room for errors. You've said it, Edward. Definitely. Ronnie Blythe, we take 6 off most teams most week. We could take 6 off most teams, but Celtic's finishing is dreadful. Kevin Mullen, Celtic could be doing with a big statement win. My dogs agree as well. Francis Lester says, couldn't care less what Kelly have done its history. Tomorrow's a new day. 5-0 Celtic. Early prediction from Francis. Very optimistic, it's Francis. Cheers for that. Des Harkin, no opposition should be worrying Celtic or they won't win the league. And Hazel Finn, morning Hazel, how you doing? Celtic's game's got to clip back into place. Someone is going to get belted. Please let it be tomorrow. That's what the hope is. Hazel. Gio says Celtic need players from all areas of the pitch to chip in the goals. That's how leagues are won. Couldn't agree more. Jill Pill. Taylor all day. Greg Taylor all day, he's saying. So there you go. He's back in tomorrow, hopefully. Maestro 95. It's all about winning games now. Definitely Maestro. And K Matsu thinks Celtic are far too talented not to limp across the line in first place. But in the summer, they need a good navel gaze and decide where the team is going long term. I agree with that. K-Matsu, big time. And I think could be machinations in the background going on with that. Various rumours abound over social media this week. Teams are no longer scared coming to play Celtic at Celtic Park, says Robert Abercole. Celtic need to start making and taking more chances. Agree with that too. Hazel comes back and says just need Celtic to play as a team and fight for a win. Keep together, the team and the fans till the end of the season. If they do that, Celtic should feel no one. And Brown Warrior saying, morning Brown Warrior, how you doing? Brendan highlighted Yang's passing, crossing and positioning, stating he needs further work while Celtic signing 21-year years are struggling with the very basics of wing play whilst leaving James Forrest out. He's wanting James Forrest to come back in. And like when the Paul comes back and says, Matt O'Reilly will be on fire on Saturday. I hope that's the case. And James Hill come back and saying, down a slight incline, Ryan. We're looking for the Hill analogy. And Smell the Glove, need Matt O'Reilly back properly. And Seamus saying, big Matt O'Reilly will come good for Celtic. Don't worry, boys. So lots of comments coming in. Thank you for that, guys. We always try and read your thoughts out because, as I've said before, it's how we learn as well. And we take some of those comments and we discuss them. But yeah, I think there's a wee bit more optimism and confidence about the Celtic supporters going into this one, Ryan. I know it's Kilmarnock who've defeated Celtic twice this season, but I think a lot of Celtic supporters are thinking, right, time to screw the nut and get the business head on. And it's, we're down to the wire now. There is a real title challenge on. Let's face the music and dance, as they say, Ryan.
Yeah, there is no margin for error, no room for error whatsoever anymore. So I think you have to be positive because that positivity needs to come from off the pitch, onto the pitch and onto the team. Everybody needs to be behind the team and showing their support because it's going to be tight from now until the end of the season. A lot of that's down to Celtic's own doing, unfortunately, I would say. I think it would be wrong to suggest anything other than that. Although Rangers have improved, Celtic have allowed that gap to be shortened due to their own shortcomings. Celtic have beaten Rangers twice this season, but they've dropped points to other teams such as Kilmarnock, such as Hearts, such as St Johnstone, Hibs as well, Motherwell, and that is the reason why that gap is no more. I think it's because of goals scored now. And the way that things are going at the moment, that'll be changing too because Rangers are scoring more goals than Celtic at this point in time. So it's up to Celtic to remedy that and get back on the saddle and get back scoring goals, a lot of goals per game. Saturday would be a great way to show it because Kilmarnock are a good side. If you could do that, if you could put a couple of goals past a good side, then I think everybody would be feeling a lot better about themselves. But yeah, there needs to be consistency from now until the end of the season. Put the Scottish Cup into that as well. Celtic have 2 trophies to defend this season. They've already lost one of them. I don't want Celtic to be losing any more of those trophies that are in the trophy cabinet at this point in time. A double from where they are just now to the end of the season would be a great result, although I still think that at the end of the season, a bit of taking of the stock would be needed of where they are as a club, potentially long term. I know you sort of talked about rumours that have been going about. We don't really know if there's anything in those rumours. Forums do this. One person will say one thing and then it will catch on like wildfire. We haven't heard anything about that rumour or anything else concerning that rumour. So but I do think that talks need to be had in the summer about where the club is going long term, because the recruitment hasn't been good enough. Brendan Rodgers maybe needs more of a say in what players are coming in, or the quality of players that come in need to be better in order for him to work with and improve. There's one thing, improving players that come in, but you shouldn't, at the same time, you shouldn't really need to be improving players that much when they come into Celtic, because if you sign them, then they should be ready to make that step into the team. If they need that improvement to get into the first team after signing them, then why sign them in the first place? Because they're not doing any immediate impact. I don't mind having a couple of projects here and there, projects like Odin Thiago Home. That's a good one, because he's 21 years old. He can learn under the best, and Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly, etc. Maybe come in about a year or two and make an impact sometimes in games. But there's players that have been. There's been 5 or 6 players that have been brought in and not really made an impact whatsoever. That's just wasting money, and trying to send out Lagerbielke away on a permanent deal or on a loan 6 months after he joined shows you that the recruitment isn't all there at the moment. When it was there under Ange Postecoglou shortly before Mark Lawwell actually joined the club, you need to get back to that hit rate. There was about an 80-90% hit rate back then in those seasons. Don't know if that was down to desperation, down to sheer panic, but you need to get back to that hit rate and not this one, because at the moment I would say it's around about 20-30% in terms of bona fide starters, and that needs to change.
Speaking of panicking, thing well, Celtic are going to put you through the emotional ringer over the next 13 league games, and however many games I've got left in the Scottish Cup. They have Livingston in the quarter-final. We'll deal with that when it comes along, but lots of predictions coming in. Scoreline predictions, Ryan, are all very positive. Smell the glove, 4-1 Celtic. Jerry O'Raw, let's get the Thunder back. He's saying channeling his inner. I think it was Neil Lennon that said that, wasn't it? 4-0, the Hoop, says Patrick McLaughlin. BB, 4-1 Celtic. He also said my patter was Doc Cotton, so there you go. I can't please everybody all the time, can you, BB? But there you go. I'll accept that. That's fair enough. If that's the case, so be it. I'll let others be the judge of that. Jason Lee saying 2 strikers up top again, please. Yes, very much so, Jason. I want Brendan to keep with that. Stephen Mitzi saying winning's all that matters tomorrow. It's rare it comes down to goal difference. Points are king, without a doubt. And Smell the Glove saying Matt O'Reilly needs to hit form again to guarantee the Euro squad, so surely that helps Celtic in the long term. That is a very good point. He won't want to miss out on that. And Jerry O'Rourke saying it's brilliant when I'm on because more comments are read out. Well, there you go. That's another observation as well. But yeah, I like reading out the comments, guys. I like to get your thoughts and we dissect them and bat them around. So yeah, Patrick McLaughlin saying if Celtic do manage to win the 13 games, that'll be 14 points dropped all season. That's not too shabby. Big if there, Patrick, if they do manage to win all those 13 games. But that would be a decent return and it would be league championship winning for them. Mick saying Celtic might have to be patient tomorrow. Strapping myself in for that one, Mick, very much so. And Curly's LBBS saying Celtic will win this league. Come on, the Hoops. There you go. There's an emphatic statement, Ryan. Celtic will win the league, he says. Do you believe that? You confident in that?
To be honest, that should have been the case before all of this happened.
Yes.
From where Celtic were, they should be winning the league. I don't think there's any excuse not to win the league, considering the lead that they had. I'm not going to say self-sabotage, but it's not self-implosion either. I think that's too strong a word, because they're not ahead in the league. You know, they're neck and neck with Rangers at this moment in time, but you know, they should be winning the league with the position that they're in. If they do win this league, I think it'll be out of relief rather than any joyous celebrations from this side. To be honest with you, maybe a bit of both, but if they can get the league over the line, then it'll be a big relief, considering where they were so far ahead in September, October time, allowed themselves. You know, Rangers have improved and stabilised, and Celtic have dropped points in games that they really shouldn't have dropped points in. You know, there are some games that they did deserve to lose, that like the Hearts game, they totally, the better team won on that day. Second half, Kilmarnock deserved to win in that as well. Hopefully it's not the same on Saturday, but you know, you look at the Motherwell game, and there's certain games in there that are just, you know, how did Celtic drop points? Motherwell, you get 2 penalties. You know, penalties have been a big issue this season. They score a late one, and then it's a header from a corner. You know, people are calling for Joe Hart to get a new contract. I would have a wee look back to that goal, and maybe sort of put that in the cooler just now. And then there's other games, you know, the St Johnstone game, they absolutely battered St Johnstone with chances. Matt O'Reilly could have had a hat-trick in that day, didn't score. I know they made up for it in the next game against Rangers, but there's all these games that, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're in the here and now. Celtic have got X amount of games. I think it's 13 games to go until the end of the season. It needs to be 13 wins or 12 wins and a draw at Ibrox if you're asking for one game to drop points in. But two wins. If Celtic can win all of their Glasgow derbies this season, then they'll win the double, in my opinion, because I think that'll just take care of itself. But Ibrox is going to be a big ask, and Celtic Park's going to be that game. I think it'll be in April or sometime, March or April sometime. I think it's April. That's going to be absolutely massive if the two teams are close at that point, which you would expect them to be. I think that could be. It's the first time in a long time that a league game like that is a title decider almost. So I think that's a game of mammoth proportions when we get to it.
We'll deal with that at the time. Hazel Finn, really hope Celtic start shooting on sight. Too slow around the box, side to side. Just get it in the box. Enough talent there to put it in the net. Chalpal saying Kelly will park the bus tomorrow, but they're a dangerous team going forward. They have Danny Armstrong and Kevin Van Veen. That's a fair point as well. So there you go. And Chalpal coming in and saying at least Tony and Ryan engage with us. Yes, we try and engage with all the Celtics. So we're a broad church here. We like comments coming in, and we love them to come in, and we want you to take part. That's the whole point of doing the morning briefing. And we've always said that doesn't matter who you support, you can come in here and talk football with the guys, as long as you keep it clean, adhere to the rules, don't swear, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll gladly engage with you. We engage with lots of people. There's Graham Caldwell, St Mirren fan, who's regularly tuning in, comes on here and gives his thoughts. So yeah, I say we welcome everybody, and that's why over 461 people join us, and the numbers we do are decent, we feel, Ryan. And we're nearly at 10,000 YouTube subscribers, are we not? Somewhere in that region?
We're getting there. 9,300 at this point, so 700 to go. If you do enjoy what we're doing, maybe you're somebody that doesn't have a YouTube account, can we please implore you to make a YouTube account, join the community in the comments section, and please subscribe to the channel. You'll get it's completely free, and you'll be getting notifications when we go live. If you subscribe on your phone, you'll be getting the notifications that come up. I know our notifications come up on my iPhone when we go live as well. So whenever we go live, you'll be notified, and you can come in and join the comment section. We welcome absolutely anybody of any team, just as long as you're respectful, and yeah, keep it clean.
Yep. And Ampong Boy, I always listen to Ryan's analysis. It's always spot on, particularly his written work. There you go, Ryan.
Take that. That's Friday feeling, for sure.
Yes, exactly. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Guys, it's always result dependent, I tell you that, but we'll be back on later on today for a shorter one, and we'll discuss what the manager and player who's put up for the press conferences. Maybe try and keep them to 15-20 minutes. We always say that, Ryan, end up going half an hour, 40 minutes and stuff like that, but because there's always stuff to talk about. But interested to see what the manager says today, and whatever player is put up. Usually the player that's put up will, I'm thinking maybe a Greg Taylor day to day, Ryan, potentially.
Greg Taylor, yeah. Cal McGregor, Matt O'Reilly, one of those two. They've got a safe pair of hands or a safe pair of lungs, some of these players. So you just know that they'll be a good... or a Joe Hart. Not seen Joe Hart do a pre-match one in a wee while. He did a post-match one not long ago, but maybe he could be in for a pre-match.
Formation, Tony says the Maestro. We'll be putting out our predicted 11s on the website at some point today. Maybe today or tomorrow, Ryan, possibly, yeah?
Definitely today.
Definitely today.
But I think we're going to try and put it in a bit earlier today because we'll have two other pieces that go live. Speaking about the player and manager spreads, we'll use the comments that Brendan Rodgers and the player review to bring out some more pieces. We're a bit low in the content today, just due to the way that things have been, but we'll endeavour to put out quite a few bits of pieces. So if you are subscribed to the website, you'll be getting a bit of a treat with how much pieces will be on the website this afternoon and this evening. What
time are you back on today, guys? We usually try and it's just about getting the work done because we do the Q&As once they're up online, and then we'll go as fast as we can after that. Once they're up and online, we're at the mercy of those being put up online, aren't we, Ryan? Really? So
yeah, 2-3 o'clock. 2-3 o'clock they'll be out, and then we'll try and get on for about 4 or 5 o'clock before 6. We'll try and get on before 6. So we're going to try. We're going to try and be as quick as we can. But yeah, please join us. You'll get, as you say, if you subscribe, you'll get the notifications when we go live. So if you can do that, then you'll know exactly when we go live, when we press that button and we're talking about the press conferences.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for taking part this morning. Over 460 people were watching us live, which is great. We say it a lot, but we do appreciate what you do and the fact that you join us, and you're faithful through and through, as they say, Ryan. And you come on every morning and talk to us, and we like talking to you. So we'll talk to you again late afternoon, early evening. Hopefully, we'll be on there and we'll discuss what the manager and whatever players put up, and you can have your say on those topics as well. But in the meantime, have a cracking Friday, and we'll see you all soon enough. And we just say thank you again to MPH Group, who are your number one for plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathroom needs, and they are Scotland's family award-winning all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland. So thank you to them, and we implore you to hit that button, guys. £4 for 4 months for access to everything that's written on the website, or £18 for the year. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thanks for your company. We'll see you all later on. Take care.
Cheers, guys.